Diablo 2 Resurrected is a game all about amazing drops and unique equipment. Usually while playing the game you are checking the magic blue items less and less, as only few of them are valuable, and even so, that happens later on in the game, right? Wrong! I decided to challenge myself to complete the game with only magic items for me and my mercenaries. If you never played Diablo 2 Resurrected, really? What are you doing? Go play it! The game is comprised of 5 acts in which you need to complete certain quests, kill certain monsters to progress further. Once you kill last boss of Act 5, Bale, you get the ability to do the same 5 acts on the next difficulty called Nightmare, where monsters are harder and loot is better. If you do the same in Nightmare, you can unlock Hell and do the same. Unlike Diablo 1, monsters do respawn when you exit the game, so you can kill and farm them again, thus creating endless game loop. Why am I explaining this if the challenge is very specific and only veterans will know outright what it is? Well, because I can, and it is nice to do so. Rules. I am only allowed to equip magic blue items, excluding bolts and arrows for crossbows and bows. Runes and gems are allowed to be socket. To make this even harder, I cannot shop for items. That means no standard vendors, gambling and no crafting. Gold is used only for potions, scrolls, repairs and mercenaries. This is a single player run with no shared stash used. Player count varies sometimes to speed up leveling and farming process. Run ends with defeating Bale on Hell difficulty. Well, why this is so difficult? Vendors in this game can sell various useful items and actually equipment that you can use through the whole game, so cutting usage of them is major downside of this challenge, which will be really apparent later. I decided to do this run as an assassin. I didn't play her much, so I thought it would be a good place to start. Because this is blue items only run, I had to get rid of starting equipment and go to the Bloodmoor to start slapping those zombies across their stupid faces. I also set player count to 7, as at the start of the game not much can harm you and it vastly speed up the farming and leveling process. Unfortunately, due to corrupted footage, I had to re-record the beginning of the run, so from start to about Tristram you can see a different equipment and the rest of the run would be done normally. So I set to Den of Evil, clearing some monsters beforehand. For my first skill point I will be taking Fire Blast, throwable projectile that deals fire damage in a small area. I got some magic items along the way, but I don't have enough scrolls to actually identify them. So for now I only have this magic charm that allows me to deal some poison damage. The Den of Evil is first quest you can actually do in this game. It is optional, like most of the quests in this game, but only optional quests give you some form of reward, so most of the times it is really beneficial to do them. Funny thing, in Diablo 2 you don't actually need to receive the quests from the quest giver first to actually do it. You just need to go to the right place and do the quest, and it will appear in your quest log automatically. But to receive the reward, most of the times you need to talk to the NPC. I got a couple of magic items, moved to Corpse Fire and eventually cleared the area. I ran out of the cave and moved to Cold Plains to find the burial grounds to the next quest. Once I found it, I had to kill the Blood Raven, and it took some time, but the fight is not that hard overall, most of the stuff is at this point. I moved to Stony Field, found a stone circle for the next quest, but I cannot access it yet, so I left the portal near and went to Underground Passage and then to Darkwood to find the Tree of Infinus, whatever. Found the tree, got the scroll, killed Tree Feast and found the portal. Went back to the town, deciphered the scroll, and onto Tristram I go. From this point on I have a proper run going, as previous footage got corrupted as I mentioned, so you can see a bit of different equipment. So I freed Cain and got to level 12, and that got me Wake of Fire trap skill. And oh my god, I have become fire incarnate. So I am blazing through everything now. Wake of Fire is a trap skill that places a trap that shoots fire waves, hitting everything in its path. For normal, this skill is just insane. So now that I got some proper damage, I am able to run through most of the stuff without any issues. So onto the Countess we go, doing some short work of her, getting the loot and eyeing the monastery next, where we go to the barracks to outsmart the smith, or just grill him to death and getting the malus for Charcy. Then a quick tour through jail, and going out in the inner cloister, and straight to the catacombs. Here I pick up some fights, but there is not much to talk about. So finally I arrive at the only mandatory quest in Act 1, and we just have to kill Andariel, this act's final boss. Because she is extremely weak to fire, my traps are melting her, and whole fight is just a breeze. So once done, she of course don't drop anything useful to me, so I move on to the next act. Act 2 is strange. You have only one main quest that requires you to get 3 things: Horadric Cube, Staff of the Kings, and Viper Amulet. Then you need to combine Staff and Amulet in the cube to get Horadric Staff to open a door to this act's final boss. This act has only one optional quest that you can do from the start, as it is done in Ludgolein sewers, and requires you to kill Radamant to get Horadrim's scroll and a book of skill. So I did just that, went to sewers, killed Radamant, got scroll and book of skill, and went on. Before going to Rocky Waste in search of 3 artifacts, I switched Mercenaries and hired Pratham with his prayer aura that would be able to heal us constantly. So now I need to get into the world and find Halls of the Dead in Dry Hills area, so I can get Horadric Cube, which is one of the most important things in this whole game. Unfortunately, you only need to do this quest once in normal. Once I found the halls, I got through all 3 levels, opened the chest and got the cube and went on. Further to Far Oasis and getting into Maggot Lair, which is one of the most annoying and road-blocking areas in this game. Although it can also be very easy if you have a teleport or abilities that can shoot in a straight line like Bone Spear. Although in normal there isn't much that is just plain hard, just time consuming. I got to the Maggot Lair, cleared it, got the Staff of Kings, and killed the Borrower boss. Next is Forgotten City and Viper Temple. Here you are getting additional quests where world gets shrouded in darkness and you need to retrieve the amulet to lift the ritual. There is not too much to do here other than just finding a way into Valley of the Serpents and into the temple itself. Fight some vipers and get into level 2. If you want, you can just ignore the monsters and get into the center, grab the amulet and teleport out, as next steps is in town on your way. Once I got the cube, staff and the amulet, I am able to make Horadric staff. Normally I would equip it as it is an amazing weapon for trap sin, because setting trap speed is actually faster if you have higher attack speed and not cast speed, and Horadric staff have 50% increase to attack speed, but this is not that kind of run, and I am unable to do so. Next, let's go to the palace and its basements. Just run through all the floors and get into the portal to the Anarchane Sanctuary. Here you get another quest, discover the sanctuary, and another quest is to find and kill the demonologist. Sanctuary is divided to 4 different sections, and in 3 of those you get a couple of super chests with a loot at the end, and in 1 resides demonologist and the portal to the last area of Act 2. Once I've found the demonologist, I make quick work of him and went to the Canyon of the Magi, where we have last quest to find the real tomb of Tal Rasha, which questlog shows you a symbol of the real one. So now I need to find a tomb and find the orifice to use the Horadric staff. I guess I got really lucky, since I found the chamber really quickly, so I guess we are fighting Duriel now, and he is just the worst. Hitting like a truck, slowing everything down with his Holy Freeze aura, but we are just using tried and true method. Place traps, run around until he dies. After doing several laps, I managed to defeat him and free Tyrael from his shackles. So now we can move on to the next act. Act 3 is often regarded as the worst one, due to its first half being in a jungle, which navigating results in pure frustration. Act is to get 4 items, combine them, and use the weapon that you create to gain access to the last area of the game and kill its final boss, Mephisto. In Spider Forest, we need to find a spider's cave and get the first mandatory quest item, Kalim's Eye. So killing some spiders to get the chest, and done. Eye is mine. There are several optional quests here, which actually give you great reward. First of which is Jade Figurine quest. You can get a random drop from any magic monster in this act. Once you talk to Meshiv and then to Alcor, you will receive a great reward, plus 20 to maximum life potion. Next to Flayer's jungle for Kalim's brain, and one of the worst dungeons in the game. But before that, in the same alcove, there is always a spawn of another optional quest, Gitbin. Light the fire, kill the mobs and get the dagger. Simple as that. In Flayer dungeon, you need to go to level 3 for the brain and the fight with fire immune Dr. Endugu. Well, because he is fire immune, I am basically unable to kill him with my traps. But my mercenary has a remedy to that. So grab the brain and trudge on to the next area, which is Lower Kurast. This area is famous for farming what is called super chest. If you ever see this bonfire, always check the huts next for the chest. They contain a lot of loot and can be a great source of high runes, possibly the one of the best in the game. Moving on to the next area, we have access to another optional quest, Lam Essence Black Book. There are 4 sub-areas across Kurast Bazaar and Upper Kurast that it can spawn in. I actually managed to find it on the second one in Kurast Bazaar, so I yoinked the book and defeated battle mate Sarina, and went on looking for an entrance into the sewers. Yes, another ones. Sewers in Kurast is probably the second worst area in the whole game, but also a really interesting one. As you see, the whole map of Sewers level 1 is stretched across 2 zones. You can find entrance in there from Kurast Bazaar and Upper Kurast. Here we need to look for an entrance to level 2 and grab ourselves Kalim's heart and quickly move on to Travinko. Travinko is famous for a console. Powerful demons that can decimate you in seconds, and you can kill them for an optional quest, or you can just kill one of them, in this case Vile Hand, to get the flail and combine it with other of Kalim's parts to get Kalim's will, and use it to shatter Compelling Orb and gain access to Durance of Hate, where Mephisto resides. Durance can be really great or really bad area, depends on what monster spawns. If you get the dolls, well, it is not that big of a deal in normal, but you bet your ass that they will hunt you down in hell. Once you get to level 3, we get to Mephisto and then again. Setting traps and running around never gets old. Of course, he doesn't drop a single thing that I can use, but that doesn't matter for now. Because I am not relying on weapon damage scaling, the gear is almost secondary now, and it isn't that important in normal. This is the shortest act in the game, as it only contains a couple areas and again only one mandatory quest. First quest I can do is killing Isual in the Plains of Despair. Always do this when possible, as it gives you 2 skill points, and Isual isn't really a threat. He just has a lot of health, so whole battle just lasts long. Next I need to find a way to City of the Damned and the River of Flame, which I happen to get almost instantly. Along the way to Diablo, let's find the Forge for another quest and make short work of Hephaestus and get his hammer to smash down Mephisto's soulstone. Once done, we get a random rune drop, in this case Ort, and a couple of good quality gems. Now the only thing to do is to find Chaos Sanctuary and the Lord of Terror himself. To fight Diablo, we need to break 5 seals in the Sanctuary, of which 3 will spawn a pack of monsters. In my case, the worst one is Grand Vizier, as he is immune to fire, but as it was with Dr. Entugu, Pratam can just stab him to death. Traps are making ashes out of the Lord Deceased and his entourage, as well as Infector of Souls. Once you kill all 3 monsters and all 5 seals are broken, everything in Chaos Sanctuary dies. And drops loot, of course. And thus Diablo is summoned. This fight is completely different from others. No, just kidding. I will spam traps and run around until he's dead. Final act of normal difficulty with 2 mandatory quests, which both are at the very end of the game. So on to the first quest. We need to find and kill Overseer of the Siege. He resides at the very end of the first area, and together with the first super unique monster of the second area is a staple in farming runs, Shank and Eldritch. Setting some traps, killing Shank, and onto the Eldritch, who is like 5 seconds away, and doing the same to him. In Frigid Highlands I rescue some random barbarians for the next quest. Running around finding those pens is actually the worst part of the whole quest. There is a funny interaction here. Normally you are breaking the gate to the pens, they are getting to the portal and you need to do it 3 times. But if you break the gate and will not be in the zone to trigger the quest call, they will never teleport until you come to them. Moving on through Arya's Plateau, we need to find the entrance to the Crystalline Passage, where you can progress further either by finding next area Frozen Trail or find the Frozen River Pass, where is our next quest with one of the best rewards in the game. In Frozen River we need to rescue Anya, so we find her, make quick work of Frozenstein, make quick trip to town and talk to Mala for the magic potion, and back to Anya to unfreeze her. Now, next time I talk to Mala, I will get the reward, which gets you a scroll that gives you 10% to each resistances permanently. In Frozen Tundra I grabbed the portal and went back to town to do the last optional quest of the game. And you can only access the area if you rescue Anya. Click on the red portal near her and we are in Nilatak's temple, which also has one of the best monsters in the game, which is Pindleskin. Go to the last floor of the temple and find Nilatak and his minions. Drop some traps and kill everyone in the room. Normally you need to look out for corpse explosion as it can kill you quite suddenly. So I want to finish this difficulty from Frozen Tundra into Ancient's Way, and finally to find the Ancients. In normal this is an easy fight, as they do not spawn with any hard modifiers. Couple of traps and we move on to the Worldstone Keep. I cleared the keep and went on to do the ball waves. killing those and onto Ball, which is again the same pattern as all Acts bosses. Traps and do the marathon around him. In Nightmare, there is actually anything spectacular happening, so I'll be just running through mostly and posting highlights. I am not even doing all the quests, only those that are giving the permanent rewards. Act 1 is just doing Den of Evil this time and killing Andariel. I even skipped the cane at this point just to speed up the process. In Act 2 you are doing everything whether you like it or not, because only Radamant quest is actually something that is giving you really good and is the only optional quest. I finally got the belt upgrade in the Maggot Lair, in form of plated belt, which was quite nice, as I finally got all the potion slots available. I got the staff, the amulet, just went on to Duriel for some thrilling fight. Act 3 was the most unremarkable so far. I got the eye from the Spider's Cavern, got to the Git Bin and did it, together with Jade Figurine, next the brain from the Flayer dungeon, and next Lamb Essence book for those sweet attribute points. Last one on the list is the heart from the sewers. Now is the council to get the flail and assemble Kalim's will, and last but not least Mephisto with yet another nerve-wracking fight. Act 4 has actually brought some changes. I started feeling a bit weak, so I had to respec to Lightning and / Death Sentry. Armed with new traps, I went on to get Isual, but of course I had to encounter Burning Souls in the Plains of Despair. I trapped Isual in the door and just started blasting. Next is the Forge, and I actually got something good from it, an Amrune. At this point my gear was feeling really weak, so some of my points went into Fail skill, which is beyond broken. Fade is giving you temporary bonus to all resistances as well as physical damage reduction, and reduces the duration of the curses. It will be my main defensive tool for the rest. I got to the Chaos Sanctuary, broke the seals and killed Diablo. On to the Act 5. I got the Amrune dropped from the super unique in the second area. I also got the Pull Rune dropped in the Crystalline Passage, which is something that is not really happening in Nightmare. I saved Anya in Frozen River for additional all resistances boost. And I also got a really nice weapon from Ball Waves, +1 to Lightning Sentry. So now I'm at the end of the Nightmare, and I wasn't really feeling very good about Hell at this point, so I decided to do some farming. I did some terror zones trying to get some upgrades and hit some levels, as levels alone can almost carry me by just leveling Fate for my defenses and synergies for Lightning Sentry for damage. While farming I got few upgrades with the shield that gives me +17 to all resistances, and decided to socket it at Larzuk and got 2 sockets. I placed 2 perfect diamonds for additional 38 all resistances, so overall 55 resistances for single item, and that is massive. Here is my gear for starting Hell. Act 1 is simply very unremarkable, as not much is happening here. Usually in Hell I am trying to do all the quests, but this time I am skipping everything that does not give me an advantage. So I did Den of Evil, skipped Bloodraven, freed Cain and went straight on to Monastery and skipped Countess. In Hell, main problem are lightning immune monsters, but I am sure that this will not be a problem for some time. I got to the Smith and retrieved the Malus just along the way, and just got straight down to jail, Inner Cloister and then to Catacombs until I got to Andariel. This fight was chaotic because of misshapen that were actually lightning immune and elite ghouls that were giving fanaticism aura. I dragged as little as possible to the first room and just danced around the pool until Andariel died. I skipped sewers for now and just straight on for Viper, Amulet and Staff of Kings. Yes, in that order. Amulet was quite straightforward due to the nature of the areas being more open, and if some immune monster happens I can just avoid them. Once I got that, I went to the sewers for additional skill point, so I dealt with Radamant, and now to the second biggest roadblock of this run. I knew beforehand that this will be the worst. Worse than worst, it will be tragic, and all because of the lightning immune beetles. Because of the pathways being so narrow in Maggot Lair, you cannot avoid anyone, you either have to kill them or teleport around. After 30 minutes I managed to get into level 3, where I got stuck with no money and potions to continue, and had to call it. Knowing that this would be pain, I decided to farm a little bit. Normally I could just skip this if I could buy a teleport staff, but well, due to the nature of the challenge, I locked myself out of this. Fortunately, in one session I managed to find the amulet with teleport charges. I could not believe my luck. Equipped with that, I managed to get through it quite nicely, and died just after picking the staff. Got through the palace and sanctuary, and quite easy went to Duriel, and just ran around him until he died. Well, this might be a bit of a roadblock, as in Act in Hell there are crap load of lightning immune monsters. But I am sure I can just run past most of everything, as almost all quest related items are in the chests. So I managed to get the eye and run past almost everything, rarely stopping to kill some monsters. And if I have to kill something, it's usually Lightning Sentry to deal with non-immune monsters, then Death Sentry to kill lightning immunes. And that's basically the strategy for the rest of the run. I respect to physical damage just to get the flail from the council, and once I was done, I realized I cannot deal with lots of monsters in this setup and this gear, so I switched back to Lightning and Death Sentry. I managed to get to Mephisto. I skipped council members there with Teleport Amulet and wore down Mephisto with the traps. Got to Pandemonium Forest and stopped recording. Apparently I forgot to save the game, and when I came back it crashed, forcing me to deal with Mephisto once again. So here I am again, dealing with him, and I was hoping that I have this whole Durance behind me at this point. I now had the advantage of the map being cleared, so I just run straight to Mephisto and deal with him. Again. Killing the act bosses at this point is just war of attrition. I have to wait them out until the traps do their work, and because there are no immunities on bosses, it will happen eventually. I think the game is just bored of me at this point, as I got the pass to Plains of Despair right out of the gate. And actually, Usual was just waiting past it. Like, this never happens. I think Matrix got glitched or something. So I killed Usual and got to look for the entrance to the City of the Damned just to rush Diablo as soon as I can. I managed to find the entrance after like 2 minutes and portal and entrance to the River of Flame in the next 30 seconds. Man, this game really wants me just to complete the challenge at this point. But actually worse is yet to come, because in the River of Flame everything is just tanky as hell. Hell, you know. And I am just not doing enough damage to deal with any of it, if they are not lightning immune. On the second attempt I managed to get Abyss Knights and Stranglers, both of which are immune to lightning, so no dice. On attempt number 4 I managed to get only Stranglers, so decided to go with it. Hellforge spawned pretty close, and step by step I was moving and clearing everything towards it. And then Hephaestus spawned as lightning immune. Another reset. I decided to leave the Hellforge for now and just run straight for the portal. So now a final stretch to Diablo, and actually clearing Sanctuary will be a feat on its own. While on the first attempt I ran out of money and I was dealing with mobs way too slow. So with that I had to back out and return to farming Nightmare Terror Zones. And during one of the Pindleskin runs I managed to find a magic walking stick, which upon identifying turns out it had lower resist charges. This might actually help me finish worst areas of this game. Lower resist wands or staves and teleport staffs, items with charges, are two categories of items you are normally buying from vendors to get access to those outside of their respective classes, and they are also helpful for almost everybody else. So I started again. Couple of restarts to get good mobs in the road to Sanctuary and then slowly clearing it up. Sometimes I was using lower resist to clear larger packs without much issue, but main strategy was to clear Oblivion Knights and Pit Lords and then use Death Sentry for Corpse Explosion. But worse is yet to come, as I had to deal with Vizier of Chaos, and unlucky as it is, he is physical and lightning immune, and that whole pack spawned atop of me, instantly vaporizing me from existence. I had to drag them through half of the area just to get enough corpses for Corpse Explosion, but I finally managed to pin them down and kill that whole pack. Once I cleared those, I went to Lord Assasin and his entourage, and they were just no match for me at this point. The last one was Infector of Souls, and although not immune to lightning, him and his minions have very high resistance. So first time they backed me up into the corner, but second time for some reason stopped attacking me and just ran around in circles, not even acknowledging I'm there. I managed to retrieve my body and just stick lower resist on him and kill him by running in circles around. Once he was down, it was smooth sailing to Diablo, which took 2 lower resist casts and some traps. And just like that, probably the worst part of the run is over. This is the final stretch of the challenge. Usually by this point it's a relief that there are not many roadblocks in Act 5. The worst are probably Ancients and worst will keep itself. I revived my Mercenary and went on, but he actually died in the first 20 seconds. I cannot find any good gear for him, so I guess keeping him around in this form is just pointless. The worst thing in this run is just constantly running out of mana. Normally I would have an Insight Polar on Mercenary and we would not be having this argument as my mana would be constantly regenerating. Of course, I got Death Maulers, which are lightning immune, and ton of Fire Archers, cleared mostly those that were standing in the way in my pursuit of dominance. Went to get the teleport and walked back to Shank to drown him in the bodies of his minions. After that cleared Eldritch and ran through the area. I rescued Barbarians in Frigid Highlands, went on to Crystalline Passage and Frozen River to rescue Anya. Onward to next area, and I actually dropped second staff with lower resist charges. Couple of resets in the Ancients way and I managed to get no lightning immunes, and went to the Ancients themselves. Here is when it gets hard, as it seems that Madoc is always lightning immune. And again I ran out of money and my Mercenary is just not tough enough to last the fight, so I had to do something else. Lower resist is certainly one of the tactics, but for some reason the cost of repair those staffs is just abysmal. So I guess back to possibly the last grind of the run. Good alternative or possibly best would be to get something with Crushing Blow, but I don't think that the stat exists on blue items. I decided to do something else. Since only Madoc is always spawning with lightning immune, I can try to beat him with something a little bit different. Something that will be a bit safer. So I decided to try poison damage. I had some small charms that had poison damage on them. It is not much, but it's something. Also, I used Larzuk's Socket quest to socket an Amrune into my weapon for Open Wounds proc. Equipped with this, I tried. First try was almost successful, but I ran out of healing potions while Madak was hanging at 10% life. I tried to get some more items like coronets or amulet with +2 assassin skills, but wasn't that lucky. So let's try again, this time with more potions. In attempt number 5, I finally managed to kill the ancients, but fight with Madak alone took like 10 minutes, and I spent almost all the potions that I threw on the ground. So finally onto the Worldstone Keep, where I actually managed to get to the throne room on the first try. And of course I got gloams, which are lightning immune, so yeah, reset time. Another couple of resets and I actually got some decent RNG. I cleared wave after wave, and those were not even remotely as difficult as Ancients. Got to Bale, and again, as with Diablo, it was just a matter of time. Here actually it was way more annoying due to bulk clone and tentacles that are spawned. So traps were just shooting all around, but after a couple of minutes I managed to kill him, and with that completed the challenge. Bale actually dropped something useful, very nicely rolled Git's Fortune Great Charm. And here is the overview of my final gear. So, did I like the challenge? Yes and no. I think I would have much easier time with the class that I could deal magic damage reliably in hell, like Paladin with hammers or Feast of the Heavens. I was fortunate enough to get the amulet with teleport charges and 2 staves with lower resist charges, and only because of those I was actually able to do this. I also got only one item to plus skills, so damage output at the end wasn't great, even if the build itself is very powerful in the end game. Nevertheless, it's still a good experience to see what you can do or how you can overcome the obvious obstacles when you encounter them. I never tried anything like this, and probably like most I have been playing Diablo 2 for a very long time. It is actually the first game I ever played, so it was appropriate to mix the gameplay a little bit and think outside of the box. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more games and more challenges. Challenger departs.